Hello everyone, and welcome to the first chapter of this series, the bad habits and techniques. Now before I go into the first bad habit, let's talk about what is the bad habits and techniques. Bad habits and techniques are going to be the most obvious of all bad habits. They will be the first bad habits you pick up and the last ones you get rid of. The majority of them are done by beginner artists, but some of them may linger past your beginner level. Personally, I still struggle with some of them from time to time. They are a comfortable place that you go to when your mind is on autopilot while painting. So what are the side effects of these bad habits? Technique bad habits will weaken your painting skills and make your work look a bit amateurish. They will also hinder your progress and stop you from going to the next level if you couldn't get rid of them fast enough. The severity level of these bad habits are high. They will slow your progress and keep you from reaching your advanced level. So how we get rid of them? Constant, focused practice. You need to identify which of these bad habits you are doing. Pay close attention to it and practice on weaning yourself off that bad habit so it no longer resides in your autopilot behavior or in your subconscious. So with that said, let's start with the first bad habit and techniques. This habit will occur in 3 different flavors: in outline, in shading, and in painting. So when it comes to outline, chicken strokes, or what artists call the nervous stroke, is the trademark of the beginner artist drawing. I call it chicken strokes because of my teacher in school. He used to call my handwriting chicken strokes due to the horrible quality of my writing and the shaky lines in it. It originates from being unconfident of where your next line will be. Pro artists know 2 or 3 strokes ahead, like playing chess. So they draw the lines mentally first before finally putting them on the paper. Beginner artists see the line first, then decide where to go as they draw the line, which will result in a shaky, broken, and unattractive look to your outlines. Now as you can see here on the left, with the beginner drawing, there is all these little lines going on from one side to the other, even going over the same line with another stroke which is a bit far away from it or away from the outline, and you end up with this shaky, unattractive outline to the whole thing. By the way, this is fine if you are designing an idea or you are sketching something very quickly, but when you end up with the final result like this, then it's a problem. Your final outline should be clean, clear, and attractive. Also notice that the lines in the same drawing, the inside lines, the outside lines, the far away lines, all have the same line weight, something we're going to talk about later on. But this is also another factor of a beginner drawing. Now on the drawing on the right, we have the pro artist drawing. You can see the process is much more confident. The lines come from one point to the other. We don't have 3 or 4 different lines for the same place. If it didn't work for the first time, you undo it and do it again. You have only one line between 2 points, no more. Notice that I start with a very small brush to do the whole thing, and after I'm done with the initial outline, I can now add the line weight with a bigger brush to certain areas of the bird, like the overlapping part or the front part against the far away part, adding more interest in the drawing itself. But the initial outline is very clean, very clear, only one line between 2 points, no more than that. And here you can see them side by side. You can see how clean, how clear the idea behind the drawing on the right compared to the left. You can see right away, even if I didn't put the professional artist versus the beginner artist, you can see which one is the more professional and more attractive to look at. Now if we take a closer look to the outline for both sides, we can see on the beginner artist line is very messy, very chaotic, very unprofessional. You can see that it has many small lines between point A to point B. The mental process is very chaotic, it's not clear or confident. So you have all this hairy look to the outline. When we look at the other side, you have a very clean line between point A to point B, and the mental process is very confident, which make the outline look very professional, clean, neat and smooth. Now when it comes to hatching or shading, like in case of drawing the hair for example, it may have a different reason than a shaky stroke. Beginner artists focus mainly on the facial feature. They take their time drawing it carefully. But since they don't have the patience for long drawing sessions yet, they won't spend a long time shading the hair. By the time they reach the hair, they either get bored of the drawing or get overwhelmed by the amount of details in the hair. So they end up shading it hair by hair in this nightmarish kind of way. I remember doing this when I first started drawing. I finished the whole features very carefully. When I get to the hair, I just see lines from one place to the other. And I just draw them line by line, same length, same width, same weight, all the way. And if I want something darker, I just add more lines. And it looks exactly like this. Now your drawing may be much better than this, but I see this a lot in many beginner artists' work. Now when you gain a bit more experience, you will see hair as different areas with different values. So you don't see them as hair anymore. You see hair as a soft object covering the head or the skull. So you follow the line weight, you follow the gravity, you follow the material of the hair itself, and you see the values on them instead of individual hairline. Of course I can spend more time on this, but in 15 minutes it looks much better than the one on the left. Again, if we take a closer look, we can see on the beginner artist work there is a disconnect between the lines. There is no one entity, one strand of hair going from one point to the other. It's disjointed. It looks weird. On the other side we have the professional artist work, and the lines go from one side to the other in one correct value strand of hair in a much clean and correct way. This nervous tick can also bleed into your painting technique. Confusion about the values, colors or textures may lead to spotty, harsh or an unattractive overall look to your painting. We can see this on the beginner work that the values or the colors may be correct, but the disjointed strokes in the same value make it look bad. And again, this might be an exaggerated example, but I did see this in my own work, in my first few paintings and some other people's works, that they don't blend the strokes well enough to look good. And it's not even like an impressionist style, it's very chaotic, it doesn't look attractive. While on the other hand, blending between the strokes, making correct and confident strokes in the same area, blending it with the other areas of values and colors, give it more professional and an attractive look. When we zoom in, we can see the problem. The brush strokes are a bit disjointed. They are not connected with each other in the beginner work. And you can see the separation between the values. While on the other side, we can see a very good and healthy gradation from one point to the other. Again, this is not about style, it's about a correct brush stroke and the confident while you're painting. So even in a very small amount of time, you can have a much better look to your painting. So now that we identified the bad habit, let's talk about curing it. First, an outline. To get rid of this bad habit while sketching or doing the outline, you need to practice lines in every shape and style. Fill up 5 to 10 sheets every day before you start up your drawing. Make it your warm-up session. Draw lines in different lengths, focusing on drawing it mentally first, couple of times before you finally commit to it on the paper with one confident stroke. For example, here we have 2 points and we need to connect between them. So we draw the lines couple of times mentally. You see me here draw it on the paper, but you have to do this mentally from one side to the other. And then finally with one stroke, draw it in the 2 points. You can also draw a line between 4 or 5 points and then retrace it slowly and carefully, going over the same exact line. Try to stay exactly on top of the line, making sure your line is confident along the exact line underneath it. Another example, you can draw a circle or an ellipse. I know a lot of people, and even I did, have a lot of problem doing this the first time. When we draw a circle, you have to draw it from your elbow, not from your wrist. So make sure your arm is going in a wide circle, not only from your wrist, while the whole arm is stationary. And you do this couple of times mentally before you commit to the final circle. We can also do this with cubes. You can draw cubes in perspective the same way from one point to the other. One line only between 2 points. Another good trick to try before you commit to your own drawings is try it on reference photos. Bring anything, a toy car, a human being, a tree, and trace it in a confident way. Trace the outline with one stroke between the 2 points. Choose your 2 points and do one line in between. Don't try to outline it with a chaotic strokes. This is not an important drawing. It's basically tracing, but it will train you to do the same thing for your own drawing. So pick an easy object first and try it a couple of times before you go to even more complicated shapes. And finally, when you do that enough times, you will be ready to do the same thing for your own drawings. So draw ellipses, triangles, squares in the same way. Draw peanut shapes, cubes, cones, pyramids with one stroke per side. Once you practice dynamic sketching long enough, you can go on to more complicated shapes like trees, cars, and finally characters and portraits. You will notice after a while that your lines are getting stronger and more confident, and you will shake away this bad habit for good. You can also try these fun exercises that I learned from Peter Han. You can find him on YouTube. He has a great video on dynamic sketching. So you can try first drawing lines between 2 points, 3 points, a curve between 3 points instead of a straight line. Or you can do the drawing over the line itself. So you draw a line from one side to half the page, for example. Then you go over it 8 or 10 times. Try not to go over the line. The thinner the line is, the better you are doing this exercise. Then the more confident you get, make the line even longer and go over it again. You can do then curved lines instead of straight lines, or couple of curves in the same way, and going over it couple of times until you get more and more confident. You can also draw ellipses. You have to do these a lot. You have to fill pages of these ellipses. Try full circles side by side. Then make the circle go thinner on both sides. Or do all thin ellipses. Or do the ellipse to come to the center of the other ellipse. Try to vary your exercises to make it more fun for you. You can also do it in perspective, going from a single point all the way out. So you have to make the ellipses go larger and larger as you go further away. You can also do basic shapes. rectangles, triangles, fill pages of these basic shapes. And you can see even my lines here is a bit shaky, but you have to do it in one stroke as you are drawing. The more you practice this, the better you will get at it. You can then do 3D objects in space, boxes, spheres, cylinders, and make them fit together in a fun shape. And hopefully you will take your time with it more than I'm doing it here, so your line doesn't look very messy. These practices take time, but try to do it first thing in the morning, like before you start your drawing session. Do a couple of pages before you start as a warm-up. Then you can do peanut shapes. Draw random shapes and try to make it look like a 3D object. So you have to draw form line on top of it. You can also shade it and put values to it. Try to have fun with it. Finally, you can draw some texture going from one side to the other in a value scale from dark to light. But try to draw it in one line, one stroke per shape. Again, try to have fun with it. Now, to get rid of this bad habit while shading, you need more patience. Something I will cover later on in the method section. Patience will come with practice. But for now, if you finished the facial features and got tired or bored, step away from your drawing. Leave it for a while. And when you are ready to draw again with passion and more patience, start shading the hair again with a whole new energy. More gonna come about this in the method section, as I mentioned. You can also practice doing hair shading only sheets, so you won't be distracted by the facial features. So put on some reference photos and draw only the hair, so you don't lose energy as you get to the hair. It will also teach you to be patient with your drawing. Now, to get rid of this bad habit while painting, you need to slow down significantly while you're painting. Watching speed painting for too long will mess up your perception of time. It really happened to me when I first started. I thought all painting are done in very fast way, and I started doing my own painting the same way, in a very shaky and fast way as a speed painting. Real-time painting is much longer than what you are seeing in the videos. My 30-minute video of the White Serenity still life, for example, is actually 20 hours in real time. Slowing down your strokes will significantly result in a calmer, smoother, and better looking painting. But be careful not to over smooth your paintings. It's a bad habit 99.99% of beginner artists fall into, which I will discuss in a later video. To practice against this habit, try to finish one drawing in a 10-minute continuous session. Repeat that 10 times. If you manage to get through the whole session without breaking, go up one level. Try 30-minute continuous drawing without a break. If you can do that, go to 1 hour continuous drawing, and so on. But don't go over 2 hours without a break. This is where your health become a priority. You need a break every 1 or 2 hours for like 10 or 5 minutes, then go back to the drawing for another 2 hours or another 5 hours, breaking in between the sessions. But not for too long, and do not check your social media. That will take forever, and it will take you away from the focused mindset as you are painting. Keep doing this till you can finally sit down and draw for hours without being distracted, annoyed, or bored. Now, nervous strokes is something I am personally still fighting with to this day, as I mentioned before in many of my painting videos. It happens usually when I phase out and go into autopilot. It creeps up on me from time to time. So this bad habit gonna take a while to get rid of, especially if you had been doing it for a couple of years. As you can see in my drawing and paintings, sometimes it's mild, sometimes it's a high, very annoying nervous strokes showing in my paintings and drawings. So hopefully as I practice more and I do these exercises, I will get rid of this bad habit as I move along. And I hope the same happens for you. Before I go, I'd like to thank all my Patreon who donated to my channel. If you'd like to donate to my channel, please go to patreon.com/rainwalker. Thank you all for your generosity. Now this is it for the first bad habit of the series. As you can see, this is gonna be a 50 video series. So it's gonna be a long time till we finish the whole thing. but hopefully it will fit right in with all the other series in this channel. I hope you find this remastered series worth doing all over again. I really think there is a lot of information that need to be said in this series, but I don't think there is a place for it in the other series. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next bad habit later on. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.